Hey guys, here we are playing the Stanley Parable just
A
inside on the
soft wind
BRB.
blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped
But
shortly
yeah,
after.
we're going to do
Stanley hoped
hopefully
that
some
he
more.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
No, go. Actually, no, you do have to go outside.
I know where I was heading.
Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Yeah, was the bucket knew all
guiding
along?
him? Yes,
Of course.
this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Also, there is an ending for this elevator thing too with the bucket.
I
if you
was
want
planning to
go
do
through
that
The
one
there.
first.
elevator raced downward,
Yeah.
plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
So press the number 3. Okay.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3. Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Okay, so listen to him.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
And then go back up.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing. Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Okay, so you keep doing what he says, and go back down the lift again.
Stanley and the
Does you
bucket were
find-
so
you'll find this
close. They'd
time, I
always
think
been
it's
there for one another. Why suddenly could the
Oh,
bucket
no,
not
Don't spoil,
connect
Justin,
with the
don't
passion of
spoil.
Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be? "Ah," said Stanley. "I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart." He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where
That
he would
again?
speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything like that.
Oh, look at that.
This was it.
Free is
One
literally
last
everywhere,
chance
I
to
know,
win the
right?
bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Yeah, we totally love the bucket, sure.
Yeah, and I totally love those scam emails. I really love them.
Throw them in the bucket.
I don't know who keeps sending them, like, yeah, they are keep constantly.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Wow. Okay. And that's an ending, though. Seriously?
Apparently so. Wait, what?
Yeah, I saw it for a second, too. That was weird.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked
Yeah,
over his
don't
shoulder
say
now,
that
he
again,
would surely
buddy.
catch them. It was
We
only a
know you're
matter of
not kidding.
time.
We know you're not serious. Okay, the bucket's back. So we gotta grab it again.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley
Yeah,
is
and
a
I
very
checked the
lucky
door
fellow.
if it was open or
Very
closed, and it
lucky
was still
indeed.
closed.
Okay.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I can't believe how much content we're getting just with a
Still no one
flipping
was
bucket.
here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was coming to a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's
I'm gonna
office.
try something and see if it changes. Careful, cause some of them like it's.
Didn't you do the escape pod ending already?
We did, but come on.
Stepping in.
There we go. Got him.
Yeah, you did that with the bucket already, bro.
I just want to see if it changes.
I don't know if it does, but okay.
Uh-oh. And that changed too. It literally moved the door a little bit closer. Nope. Worth a try. Like. Reason of what I missed.
I don't think you missed anything with this ending, bro. It looks like it's pretty much the same to me.
Oh, we'll see.
I still can't get over that bucket ending with the Mary Ellen lady backflipping off to work.
Yeah, well, like, what the fuck?
Can you just imagine that? So, seeing a lady walking down the street, she sees a guy dead on the ground, and she's holding a bucket, and she's like, "Oh, you know, poor guy," and then suddenly you see her backflipping to work. Like, the hell?
With a bucket.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, where is it? Okay, here we go again. Sorry for the screen glaring, I'm also doing my job, guys.
Farewell, bucket. No tears. We will see each other again someday.
A property of Stanley. What? Okay, let's see if it's altered.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
Bucket
room.
is
Perhaps
gone.
he had simply missed a memo.
We're still closed.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
I still find it
Perhaps
weird
he
that I
wanted to
missed the
stop by the
point
employee
that's
lounge first,
supposed to be
just to
like
admire
getting
it.
the
was okay.
portal one.
But eager to get back to business,
I think I
Stanley
figured
took
out
the
why
first open
you
door on
did
his
not
left.
get the portal one.
Why is that?
Because
Stanley
you've
was
got
so bad at
you're
following
playing it from
directions, it's
PlayStation,
incredible he
aren't
wasn't
you?
5 years ago.
Yeah, but PlayStation 3 also
Look,
has
Stanley,
Portal
I
2.
think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Yes, but I
I'm
think
not your enemy, really, I'm not.
the port,
I
the
realize that
PlayStation port
investing
of
your
this
trust in
game,
someone else can be difficult,
doesn't
but the
like
fact is that the
Portal 2.
story
I'm
has
not
been
sure
about
why.
nothing but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him
I
what
was
to
thinking I
do.
was high enough.
Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley.
But yeah,
Everyone
I think
thinks
that's
you are
the
very
big reason,
powerful.
like this, because this is this PlayStation port. The Sterling Powell sees that. Oh. Hey, go to
All of his
426.
co-workers
To your
were
left.
gone.
To your left. To your left.
What could it
the
mean? Stanley
yeah,
decided to go to
426
the meeting
indeed.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The whiteboard ending.
Dark
Nice.
mode.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, And try not to lose this one too, you dolt. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was... Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Echoed. Hear that?
I hear it, yeah.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of his...
Three.
The bucket did not react. Except perhaps a tiny glow of warmth. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Why is the bucket not going off? Well. Oh, it still works.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
You're not going to get tired of that, are you?
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Has Stanley become a dog?
Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Ow! No barkers? Oh, the dog died.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant...
It's only a different voice actor than the last time we did this.
As it was crushed violently to death.
No, this is the same woman.
It definitely sounds different.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Oh no! The museum's turned into a museum about buckets now! Oh god!
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
It's a bucket! It's a friggin' bucket! Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, sure. Oh my god.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Really?
What?
It's man who should kneel before the bucket?
I'm gonna grab the bucket! Oh.
There is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Oh, the silence.
You get crushed and you get one last bark in. Oh my gosh.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Hey, the bucket's back.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so much.
Yeah, guys, this is where I'm going to end off with today. We'll be back tomorrow with some more Stanley Parable. I had it all fun with the marker. People will think I'm going crazy.
We found all the figurines too.
Yeah. Still haven't got the door, which I'm still pissed about. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Yeah. Until next time, guys, have a nice day, have a nice week, and peace, my prayers. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Peace.